I guess we're live. Hey, good afternoon. Tony Shaffer here. The S Files or the Sentinel Files, whichever you like better. By the way, my handle on X has changed from T Spooky with all the underscores to just T Spooky, one word, T and Spooky all together for your convenience, right? It's all easy, easier to remember, and less work to do. So we always strive for the simplification. Can I use that? It's not even a word. Simplification of things here because we're simple. That's what we are. Speaking of simple, who makes my life simple is Chris Cordani. Hey, Chris.
That's my job. I'm the handler, if you will.
That's right. He is. He's like my controller, if you in case officer jargon. But we're going to have a good show today. Everything it's our first live show of the year, right?
This technically, yes, we did one on the 31st of last week, and that doesn't count. So that's it.
That's right. Doesn't count. So this
new
is
year,
first
new
show.
show.
And then for our first show of the year, we have Cheryl here, Cheryl Chumley from the
Tennessee
Washington Times.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm so glad you didn't segue to me after you said, "Oh, and speaking of simple."
No.
That's my job, I guess.
We're not talking about Tim Walz yet. That's coming. So, there's some really stupid people in politics. I think you'd agree with me, Cheryl. Tim Walz, Senator Chris Murphy. Whew, man, it's like I watch that stuff and I feel myself getting stupider. But I don't want to get into all that. Yeah, tell us about that, Cheryl. Tell us about your program. I think I'm going to be on it soon, right?
You are. You will be on it Friday, and I've started doing more video versions of my Bold and Blunt podcast. People seem to like them better, so you'll be on Friday with me. Can't wait to talk about all things Venezuela and Pete Hegseth and more stupid Democrats. That'll fill the show.
Yeah, it's fun. I think you probably know. I got to see Pete on. What's redundant, Chris? I'm sorry, I was talking. What did you say?
And stupid.
Oh,
stupid Democrats.
So, yeah, they are. So anyway, but I think you guys know now. I was off at a very literally last minute invite to come up and visit with the Secretary of War up at Newport News. And man, oh man, I've driven by the Newport News shipyard probably 1,000 times over the years, going from Northern Virginia down to where I live, or Virginia Beach. And I had no idea that place was as huge as it is. And we produce a lot of our submarines and other high performance naval technology there. So it was good to see Newport News. Good to see Pete. And hopefully, Chris, we'll have my stuff uploaded. I'm trying to get some videos from Pete's speech uploaded to Chris so we can use those. Can we tease the other thing or not?
Let's tease everything. Why not?
Okay, so we're having Sal Mercogliano on Friday to talk in more detail about the Navy, the reinvigoration and expansion of the industrial base of the Navy. And it's our Navy, by the way, not McHale's Navy, right, Chris?
Which McHale's Navy? The one with Tom Arnold, or the original one, the TV series?
The TV series was much better than the other one. Just saying.
The reason why I like the other one is because the great Bruce Campbell was in it.
I didn't know that. I haven't seen the other one, so maybe I should watch it. Should I watch it? So anyway, I'm fond of the 60s and 70s stuff. As a matter of fact, don't tell her, but my son picked up a Bucky shirt for Susan Olsen, our friend.
Oh, nice.
I shouldn't have said that. Now she's going to find out. So. Everybody loves Bucky's, right? That's the universal. Even Democrats, kind of like Bucky's, I think, right?
Well, it depends. If they like something, they might not.
No. We're not talking about Joe Biden today. No, depends, please.
Oh, there are some people worse than Joe Biden out there as far as Democrats are concerned. One of them.
We'll talk about that. We'll go into
one of them isn't going to run for governor anymore.
That's right. He's going to go back and start plotting Antifa parades and riots. I think that's his future right there. You keep trying to get me to talk about Walz. I'm not going to do it. Chris. We're going to stick with open.
But wait a minute. This is the last Walz.
Well, there's a great movie about the last Walz, but it's not about him. Just saying. So
Oh,
And Bob Dylan was in that movie too, and he's still alive. But
Yeah.
again, we're getting way off track here. We're going to annoy She'll never come back. So we'll talk about the last Walz. We could we'll do a special song for him, right? One of my favorite songs from that was the night they drove Old Dixie down. Maybe we can do a song about them driving the Somali flag down in Minneapolis, right? That would be a good last Walz thing.
They should throw the hat up in the air in the middle of the city and let it freeze in midair.
They got another song on that soundtrack, Take the Load Off Fanny and Put It Right on Me. So, I guess that's about Fannie Willis, right? Or Fawny. I don't know. I mix them up. Anywho, let's get back to the task at hand, which is with Cheryl. Wow. Venezuela. I'm speaking as someone who has been in that world that did that operation. Even by the standards of operations I know in the past, the snatch of Maduro was unheard of. So what do you think? Let's break it down in two pieces. What do you think of the execution, and what do you think we're going forward? So let's start with the execution. What did you think about the raid's execution?
Yeah, I thought it went smoothly, right? Mission accomplished. And
nobody died except the bad guys.
Yeah, I was a little surprised about the wife being roped up too, but then I understand that the indictment had been changed to conspiracy, so it makes sense to bring her in as well. And look, this administration has been warning for a very long time. What's their motto? FAFO, right? And Venezuela is the latest to find out. And going forward, wow, this is the big question, right? Because now you have Iran, Russia, China, all kind of set on notice that this administration is going to cut into a significant portion of their oil. And also what's going on in Iran right now with the back and forth we've seen with this administration and the Iranian government over there, kill protesters, and America will come in and do something. Iran's got to be a little bit nervous now too.
Yeah. So on that point, this clearly, many of this type of operation often has, tactically successful. It has a strategic value. Obviously, you just outlined that. And a series of the campaign plan sequels, which one of the sequels is us using special operations forces to go after tankers. So two issues with that, and I want to run by it, Cheryl. First, Cuba was receiving on a monthly basis about half its oil from Venezuela, the other half coming from Mexico. And while it's not significant, I think by one source it said they were receiving something like 70,000 barrels a month, which by our standards is nothing, but by theirs, they're a communist nation and they live very frugally, just saying. It's going to be basically 30,000 barrels of that was coming from Venezuela. That's gone. So I think there's a potential of crashing the Cuban economy. I think there's a better than even odd on that. And of course, China, I've got a lot of questions recently about, do I think China is going to invade Taiwan? It's like, it's going to be hard to do that when half your oil is being cut out because right now we're going after that oil, and China only has 2 to 3 weeks of supply on hand at any given time. So what do you think?
Yeah, this isn't just about Venezuela, and it's certainly not just about Maduro and the narco terrorists that he is, and protecting America's borders and Americans from the importation of all these drugs, the import of drugs. Yeah. But it's a shift in this whole hemisphere's geopolitics, right? And like you were just talking about, Russia, China, Iran, Cuba, these are all countries now that are going to be negatively impacted by what Trump has done and will continue to do. And this is good, not just for America. It's good for anybody who cherishes freedom around the world.
So, and on that point, this is something notable by the fact that in 2020, a lot of these activities we're talking about were kind of proposed by Trump to go after and do this, especially the Maduro thing.
Yeah.
But the shadow fleet thing is problematic. Now, the Europeans have talked a really good game, but it's always BS. I mean, it always is, just saying. And one of the things they kept saying is, we want to target the Russian shadow fleet. They never really did it because, Cheryl, if they did that, they would be cutting their own throat because they pretended to, we're sanctioning Russian oil. But at the same time they're doing that, they're letting Russian oil flow out to India as a second party, and they buy it. The Europeans buy it as a third party, knowing full well they're buying Russian oil. It's just they feel better because they're buying it from India at twice the cost. Just saying. But the idea here is that we're getting real. It's like, no. That shadow fleet that you've all complained about, we're going to do something about. So do you think that's going to cause problems with the European allies by the fact we're actually doing what they said they wanted to do?
The Europeans always whine, right? There are very few European government heads over there that support what Donald Trump does. And, we saw that under his first administration, and now we're seeing it again, where he actually is in a position to take real decided steps. And the big thing here is Venezuela is the largest producer of oil in the world, right? And so now America is going to have a huge stake in that, and the nationalization of America's oil companies in that country, that's all going to be reeled back. So Europe better come kissing Donald Trump's butt a little bit now.
Yeah, let's go back to 2007 with that. Hugo Chavez basically nationalized the major oil refineries.
Exactly.
And forced American companies to give majority ownership to the nation. A lot was done back then, by the way. There was a price put on Maduro's head, by the way, as well, by the Biden administration. None of the whining Democrats talk about that now, do they?
No, they don't. So, and that's another thing I want to cover real quick, because now at this point, because to Chris's point, Cheryl, the Democrats were all about the fact that Hugo Chavez was, kind of a bad guy. They let him go, didn't do much. And then Maduro rolls in, and it's kind of gets even worse. And then with Maduro, not only does he, kind of destroy even further the Venezuelan economy, he loses an election. And even the Democrats are saying, oh, it's time for a change. So Chris Murphy of, I think, Vermont. I think it was Vermont. Is it Vermont, Chris? Or is it? Yeah, I think it's Vermont.
It's either that or, let me take a look at that.
So anyway, he was on CNN over the weekend whining, and even Dana Bash called him out and said, but you did an editorial saying Trump should remove Maduro. I mean, what is going on with the Democrats on this?
Yeah. And, under Joe Biden, the bounty on Maduro's head went up from 15 million to 25 million. And Democrats were fully on board with removing him from power, with, ratcheting American influence in Venezuela and bringing back freedom to the people. Until Donald Trump actually does it. And then their Trump derangement syndrome takes over. And this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Yasmin Croquet, the posh Yasmin Croquet was on The View talking about this. Let's hear what she had to say.
So over the weekend, the Trump administration forcefully captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife from Venezuela without notifying Congress. President Trump is saying the U.S. will run the country of Venezuela and its oil reserves in the meantime. How do you see this playing out? What's next?
Well, I mean, we've seen this play out before. I guess this is one of the reasons that some people don't want us to know history, is so that we are doomed to repeat it. And seemingly that is what we are doing. Here's the problem. The biggest problem that I have is that it was illegal. Everything that this administration
should those eyelashes be illegal?
And does is illegal. And so I don't know how you take the moral high ground when you are actually executing something in an unconstitutional way in the first place. Right. And so if you had what you needed, which he truly believes that, I guess, then you just would have went to Congress and gotten us involved. But instead, we're hearing leaks and reports that he talked to oil folk, but he didn't talk to Congress. Right. What kind of sense does that make?
Well, think about it.
Well, they didn't leak anything, did they?
Tony, is it possible to talk to these people anyway without a superficial pushback?
Yeah, no, this is something I've had. Yeah, no, this is something I've had a bit of experience with. Probably Cheryl too. It's like, look, you can't trust members of Congress. Not all. Some you can. And I don't believe for a minute that Congress wasn't notified. I believe Republicans were notified. I think that Lindsey Graham knew very well what was going on. I think the Speaker of the House knew what was going on. I think John Thune knew what was going on. But the Democrats did not, because they would try to do something destructive like leak. And by the way, a quick personal note. Cheryl, did you notice in one of the recent videos, they had Lindsey Graham standing right next to the president on the airplane? Do you think Lindsey's looking more like Liberace every day? I think so. I think he ought to start wearing those really cool outfits with the big hair. And what do you think, Chris? Do you agree with me on that? I think he'd have a better image if he started dressing like Liberace. Just saying. Not that there's anything wrong with Liberace.
Right. I was going to say Liberace's a pretty sharp dresser.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He could learn a lesson from Liberace in a number of ways. Just saying.
I think he'd look better dressed up like Rose DeLauro.
I don't know about that. That's a bridge too far, as they say in the movies. So.
He'd wear it better than her, wouldn't he?
He may do that in other places, but I don't know. I don't know that. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, back to the story. Cheryl, this whole issue with jasmine croquet. Every time Chris says that, I get hungry because I always think of salmon croquets. That's some good eating there. So,
speaking of history, Obama invaded Libya and supported that poster of Gaddafi without going to Congress. And Obama unleashed drones on American citizens, killing them without congressional authority.
And Lucky and his son. And then there's one other one that has not been disclosed yet. Just saying, there's one more coming.
Yeah, that's So, and these were American citizens, right? That are entitled by the Constitution to due process and so forth. So
that's correct.
For Trump to follow up on an indictment that was issued in a New York court in 2020, and not do it as a regime change, he still left the vice president in charge, who is now the interim president. That doesn't really scream illegal. It screams law and order.
Yeah. And so let me hit that point because I've tried to make sure that every program that I do, I make sure to clarify the issue legally. So this was a Title 18 law enforcement operation. This was, the technical term for it is extraordinary rendition. I've been on these, just saying. And it is, while you're using Title 50, because CIA was involved. Yes, CIA was doing stuff. Title 10, the U.S. military was, kicking ass, just saying, it is what it is. The Title 10 folks and the Title 50 folks, the warriors and the spooks got together and worked with the Title 18 folks, FBI, DEA, to invoke or basically enforce the warrant, like we did with Manuel Noriega. The closest analog to this operation is Just Cause, which was an invasion of Panama to get one guy, which I still thought was kind of silly. Just saying, we could have grabbed a guy anyway. But Noriega was brought to justice and was put in prison down in Miami. As a matter of fact, he was at the southern tip of the Miami airport for like 30 years. Nobody even knew it. He was out there directing traffic, with those cones and everything. No, I'm just joking. He was not, but he could have been. But back to this issue. The issue is this was a legitimate law enforcement operation. He did not actually take over the country, even though he says it. It's metaphorical, right, Cheryl? He's not running Venezuela. He's kind of telling the Venezuelans what to do, right?
Yeah, he's got Delcy Rodriguez, who is now the interim president, who is saying that she will cooperate with President Trump and the White House and really law and order. And, even more than what you mentioned, the specifics about the legalities of it, this administration also covered their bases for international law, which we really don't have to go by. They are citing Article 51 to the United Nations. As far as the charter goes, the right for sovereign nations to defend themselves, which is what America was doing. So,
and defending, and then obviously reacquiring theft, things stolen, which is the oil company's right, as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's all good. I think that, and we'll talk, and more will come out on the Venezuela thing. I think there was some new technology used by Department of War. I don't want to get into in this show, but I think there's some other things out there that we're going to be learning about. Plus, what do you see? Let me just ask this before we go to Tim Walz. What do you see happening regarding Venezuela? Do you think they're going to continue to comply, or do we think we have to go do some more stuff to get their attention?
Well, I don't think we're really going to need boots on the ground, right? Which is the big now Democrat talking point to instill fear in the American people. I think that they are going to cooperate with this administration, and the oil companies are going to come in. And once you take away much of the cash for the cartels and really strip China and Russia of their ability to do business with Venezuela, I think that's going to bring about some permanent changes toward freedom in the country.
Yeah. Good. That's great.
Let's take this a little deeper, Tony.
Yeah.
I want to take this a little deeper because you look at South America, you're seeing a more populist turn, an anti-communist turn. This has been happening for a couple of around a decade now. We saw Brazil. They had to cheat to win. I'm going to say it. Oh, we're going to get in trouble for that. They're going to keep doing it. They threw their opponent, they threw the major opposition party leader in jail. That's what they did. They did to him what the American Democrats tried to do to Trump. Right. Paraguay, right-leaning. Chile just elected an anti-communist president. He's going to take office soon. The sphere of influence is expanding, and it's actually leaning more towards populist U.S. type Trump type leadership. This is what the people of those nations want. We're looking at now. You talk with Todd Callender and Jerome Corsi several times about Copia Port E, which China wants in Chile. We have a friendlier president now. Hopefully, negotiations can happen. With the friendlier countries and the potential of a friendlier Venezuela, we can control trade, or at least we can, well, basically the U.S. can keep China from controlling trade in our hemisphere for the next 50 years.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more to it than simply controlling ports, but yeah, I think that
there's a lot more. But part of that is the anti-communist governments winning in these countries.
Yeah,
and China.
Well, I mean, we went through this in the '80s. Clearly, we had the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. We had a defeat, and we had rebel groups in El Salvador. So I'd like to believe we're kind of freedom is marching forward in all this. So, Cheryl, do you think this will continue as a trend in Latin America, that we'll see more Donald Trump-esque regimes come up and take power?
I do, and Chris made me think of the China's Belt and Road Initiative that had been making inroads in Venezuela. And these other countries. So, look, they're going to be sort of nipped in the bud now. Much of China's influence, and that just opens the doors for more America type freedoms to be pushed through.
Yeah, it's good. Well, speaking of someone who's not pro-American and probably should be a third world dictator, let's talk about Tim Walz, because he brought Somalia to Minnesota. And by the way, on a personal note, I love Minnesota. He and Amy Klobuchar are two of the worst example of Minnesotans. I mean, Minnesota used to be, they talked about Minnesota nice. This is Minnesota marauders. These people are evil, just for the record. And what he's done to that state, what that Justin Bieber lookalike mayor has done to the city of Minneapolis, it's horrible. So, and my friends who are watching him in Minnesota, oofta. So there you go. All right. So back to you, Chris.
He steps down. Tim Walz is no longer going to run for governor of Minnesota. Yeah. I think there are a couple of factors. Not only the scandals, he's deathly scared of losing to a potential Mike Lindell candidacy. But here, he's not going to resign. Here is what he said stubbornly amid all the scandals, amid all the problems, amid all the, it's all Trump's fault issues from him.
Oh, yeah. It's all his fault.
He's damn well not going to resign.
Their idea of improving
that's not loud.
Is being a parrot for Donald Trump, agreeing to everything that he agreed with. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. It ain't happening. I'm not going anywhere. And you can make all your requests for me to resign over my dead body. Will that happen?
There it goes. It was a little low on all the X videos that I have. But basically, he's saying, over my dead body, am I going to resign?
Well, he already had someone killed, so I guess that could happen. Just saying.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a couple people.
According to the assassin. Allegedly, according to the assassin, you know, I'm not stipulating it as a fact. I'm saying the guy who killed the former speaker of the
you saw how frightened she was.
Told him. Just saying. So, we're just reflecting the facts here. That's all, right, Chris?
Just as Staples said, just the facts, ma'am.
That's right.
And by the way,
so this is pretty significant. So Cheryl, that guy, I think it's Nick. Is that his name? Nick, Chris?
Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley. Man, oh man. Yeah. A one-man wrecking ball. and not the Miley Cyrus version either. Went in there and knocked out this knucklehead. So what do you think?
Yeah, so we knew about fraud in Minnesota for years. And there was even a congressional member who testified on Capitol Hill about the fraud going on in Minnesota. But it was Nick Shirley who actually went down there with his camera and showed us the empty child care centers and that ridiculous misspelled sign, the luring center, right? Which become the subject of several memes, right? Hilarious.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
when you can do that, when you can drive home to the American people how their tax dollars are being just so egregiously put to waste. And I think that's what did it. Combined with this administration's determination to root out fraud in social services, it's a two-pack punch right there.
Yeah. So on that point, one of the things that we did a few days ago, Chris knows, we talked about the amount of fraud. My friend Larry O'Connor, our friend Larry O'Connor, was talking about this on the air about how 21% on Larry. That's the name of his show. Isn't that convenient? It's named after Larry O'Connor. Who'd have thought? Anyway, on Larry's show, Larry talked about 21% of all checks written or all deposits done by the the Treasury Department is fraud. 21% of $7 trillion a year. So holy cow, that's a lot of fraud, right? I mean, and we know this and we're still paying taxes. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, I think that's why we conservatives have always had an issue with social service programs in the first place, right? Not only are they sort of counter to what founding fathers would envision for a limited government, but just on common sense, principles. You look at the money that flows into social services, and the level of accountability is nothing. So this is not surprising to those of us who for years have really wanted social service programs to be looked at from a point of view of reeling in waste.
Well, two things on that. First, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was just going to tell you, it's going to be very tough to investigate this, Cheryl and Tony, because for some reason, I'm going to predict a rash of burglaries. There was one very recently in Minnesota from a Somali-run daycare center that all the records somehow were just burglarized. They didn't take any of the supplies in there, whatever were not in there. They just took all the records and left.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to find those records are still available somewhere else. But let me address the fundamental issue regarding constitutionality. So I've said multiple times, and I'm an elected official of North Carolina, the federal government should have no role, none, zero, zip, zilch, on any social services program. None. Nothing in the Constitution stipulates that the federal government should have a role in that. Nothing. Basically, this is one of those things that should be covered under the 10th Amendment as a state issue. And I don't think taxation of individuals should go beyond the state either. I don't think the federal government should have the power of taxation. I think we should revoke that. What is that amendment that created taxation in 1913? Anyway, created the Federal Reserve and all that stuff.
I think it's the 16th.
Yeah, we should revoke, because I don't think the federal government should have that kind of power to basically destroy the lives of people. And that's what they do if they don't like it, just saying, because I've been through that once or twice with the Obama folks.
Yeah, 16th it is.
Yeah, should never permit that. And obviously, to me, federal government funding daycare programs, food programs, healthcare. I don't know. I've been looking. Cheryl, can you tell me? Because I got a copy here. I got a copy of the Constitution. Can you tell me where it says the Constitution it's a right the federal government should be providing healthcare to anybody?
You're speaking to the choir on this one. I am so opposed to so many of these so-called entitlement programs that we have in place now. And you hit the nail on the head. Look what Democrats do. Look what Gavin Newsom does, or prior Democrat governors in California. When they waste tax dollars, what do? They cry poverty to the federal level.
Yeah.
And the feds come in and take our tax dollars from other states and give it to them. And then it just emboldens them and enables them to continue their far leftist policies. So I'm with you completely on that point.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. If we leave the door open for these programs, the Democrats will always create loopholes, because were we not told, Cheryl, when the enforcement of immigration law started at the beginning of, about a year ago, exactly a year ago, we were told by the Democrats, and I'm an elected official here in North Carolina. Oh, there's no illegal aliens on our programs. Nothing. No. And then all of a sudden they're suing the federal government to stop data being provided to the federal government about state programs because illegals are on it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is nuts.
And I've seen some stats. I can't remember exactly what states they've come from, but those filing for this year's benefits have fallen down by double percentage amounts because, like you said, they're going after illegals in the program, and so now these illegals aren't even filing for this fiscal year.
Yeah, it's good. Well, speaking of that, before I go on with Walz, because I want to get back on Walz in a second, so to speak. What's that? Oh yeah, I love that song.
That's a great song, isn't it?
We'd get in trouble if we play that, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's a great song.
We'll have to find an outlet that won't censor us for this sort of thing.
Yeah, because that's a great song. Anyway, but back on the topic of illegal aliens, I think the issue to me, obviously, with the enforcement comes a lot of learning about how corrupt the Democrats are regarding the use of taxation. To me, if I were Trump, I'd just say it's done. We're cutting it all off. We're not giving states anything. States, you need to figure out, we're going to give you 2 years to basically figure out how to fund your own social welfare programs, because we're out of here, baby. Because there's nothing in the Constitution that says anything that justifies any of this nonsense. And I think the founding fathers would be aghast at what we're doing in this regard. Do you think so too? I think so.
Totally. That's how government grows, and that's how irresponsible spending of tax dollars grows. And really, that's how politicians solidify their
exactly.
Right? Socialism comes in, communism, Marxism. They promise people this, and they use tax dollars to fulfill those promises. So it's totally counter to what the founding fathers would want.
So but back on accountability real quick. So as a sitting official in Chihuahua County, I just got a report today. Well, it was really yesterday because I didn't have time to get to it yesterday. An audit of our social services administration here in the county. They came through with flying colors. But Cheryl, one of the things I was told before I ran for county commissioner was my job is accounting. I don't actually do much other than review. I sit on 4 boards. Those boards look at details. I'm on the local hospital board. I'm on the regional health board, and I'm not even a doctor. Anyway, it's another story. Anyway, so, but all of those jobs, it's all about accountability. It's all about reviewing the amount of money that comes in from what source, making sure that money then is used for the prescribed by law task. So we did that. We do that. And again, I have to be in a meeting next Tuesday before I fly out to Utah to do some stuff to talk with the board about how to continue this. So if we can do it in North Carolina, what happened in Minnesota? What the hell went wrong?
So when you keep it, the more local you keep it, the easier it is to enforce accountability, right? So, North Carolina is doing it right. What happened in Minnesota is that Democrats, they came in and they want to exploit the system. They want to exploit the use of tax dollars to secure their votes, which is exactly what Walz did with the Somalian community there. And it's been going on for a very long time.
So, and I think this is why Walz should probably resign. I don't know, Chris. Let me ask Chris this because Chris has been tracking this with Jerry.
Over his dead body.
I think Walz ought to be. I think he ought to resign. I think they ought to prosecute him. What do you think?
He has to go. The fact is, look. Tim Walz has played that whole "aw shucks" knucklehead routine because obviously he wanted to look stupider than Kamala Harris to make her look smart, I suppose, during the campaign. The fact is, that's his image. "Aw shucks, look at me. I don't know what's going on." No, you use that as a front. I mean, this guy's no idiot. You use it as a front to actually perpetrate such corruption. This way, people
don't sell him short. He's an idiot. He's just a good politician.
I don't know, because people can look at him and point and say, that guy, it must have been easy to sneak that stuff past him. I'm sorry. Right now, the human services, or I believe the state is being accused of possibly fudging the numbers and fudging fudging documents when it comes to the investigation on the daycare fraud. And
we're not talking about Peter Buttigieg here, just for the record.
Right. I got that. But fudging. I like that. Almost missed that one. That gets a heyo. But the fact is, this guy is using his aw shucks, his I'll just say it, his retard reputation to try to roll everything off of his back. This man is corrupt as they come. His wife likely helped him out, and now he's trying to deflect everything to Donald Trump. Let's see what he had to say about, he's trying to tell you, find the documents, which they're fudging.
That they committed fraud. We have a requirement that the House run an audit, which they did not do. You are the gatekeepers on this. Demand that there's data practices, and if they have emails showing that I have committed fraud, you should get those.
They're coming. They're coming.
But note the language. Note the language. He says, if you have emails showing I have committed fraud, no. You may not have committed the fraud, but you let it happen.
Yep.
You did this for votes, and you're trying to pull that little innocent me routine. Oh, shucks, I'd never do something like that. I play by the rules, and who would do that? I'm just a knucklehead. No, you were part of it because you were allowing it, and you didn't do anything about it before because you got the votes. So you got the votes in exchange.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's the issue at this point. Cheryl, do you think the federal government should prosecute him?
I definitely think that they should investigate and find out what the links are that would enable them to prosecute him. I mean, of course, the suspicions here are valid. The idea that he did not know that this money was being spent, abused, in order to benefit those who in turn voted for Democrats sort of defies logic, at least in my mind. But, we have to find the actual
like I said, Cheryl, being here in North Carolina, knowing how our system works, there's no way he didn't know. There's no way.
Yeah,
because
defies
this
logic.
starts.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this starts. Again, people like me are sitting at the local level, kind of looking at programs because we have to oversee the local social services, regional healthcare services. Mental health. I mean, that's what local politicians do. We oversee programs, and we have members who are professional bureaucrats running them. You have them state employees. So there's no way, zero chance Walz did not know and looked the other way. I know, again, I'm speaking from experience. I know what I've had to do over the past year to be an effective, I'd like to believe effective county commissioner. You've got to actually pay attention and look at what's going on. And if you're not doing that, then you're either on the take or you're stupid. And I think, to Chris's point, he's not stupid. He's on the take. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that he was definitely on the take because he benefited from the Somalian community in turn voting for him. So, and I think there were actually were complaints made about some of these empty daycares to his office before that went unanswered. So that, to me, would show that he knows something more than he's admitting at this point. Yeah.
And one other question before we move on from this, Cheryl, do you believe that Ilhan Omar told her husband that they have to start seeing other siblings? Do you think she? I don't know. I don't know these things. It's a strange place. It's a strange place.
Yeah, I would love to see something, with her this year too. Be prosecuted, honestly.
Are we going to turn the page here, Chris?
That's right. Yes, we are turning the page, just not in the way you intended.
Oh yes. So let's hope, because I used to love Minneapolis. It used to be a great place to hang out. And I don't know, Cheryl, if you were there in the 90s. No. Minneapolis in the 90s was the place to be. You had Prince, had his club, the Glam Slam. It was everybody hung out. I mean, everybody. Everybody got along. You could go to Lake Calhoun and hang out. You could go to Cafe Weird and hang out with lesbians and girl watch together. Just saying. And it was great. But man, oh man, you can't do that now. It's like a war zone. So I let's hope they bring back Minnesota Nice at some point with the removal of Tim Walz. There's Mary Tyler Moore. You're going to make it after all, right?
Hey, she did. WJM closed. We didn't get to hear Ted Baxter after.
Denny.
We did get stuck with a Lou Grant spinoff, which became his his liberal soapbox or something.
Yeah. It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. It wasn't a funny show.
Yeah.
I think he was. I think he was a socialist.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is. And the only saving grace for him is he's a Mets fan. I've actually seen him at games, so no, it's not so
Yeah.
bad.
Did he throw his head up in the air like Mary Tyler Moore?
Quick note. Note how NPR and some of these other left-wing organizations covered the Somali daycare story when they actually did.
By the way, the NPR is on its way to non-existence because the Corporation for Public Broadcasting shut its doors. Just saying. So
exactly. Well, hey, look, we're not paying for biased coverage. The taxpayers aren't doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, just merge with MS Now at this point, or let's say MS No One's Watching. All right.
Oh, you were not going to? I thought you were going to play that. So, okay.
Oh no, I'm not going to. Who want to play?
Well, so yeah. While we're on the topic of NPR, so yeah, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which is the funder, the primary feeding organization for NPR and PBS, died. Cheryl, while we're on this, I was told by reliable left-wing sources that, we don't need public money. It's only 10%. We could live without it. And then Trump says, okay, you can live without it. We're taking it. Oh, no.
I do remember.
What's going on?
I remember that the left was saying that it's only 10%. It's only a few dollars. We don't need it. But yeah, anytime the left tries to make a go of some sort of audio production or whatever, it doesn't seem to do as well as conservatives do. So,
no.
Wait, Jennifer Welch is not popular? Jennifer Welch is a PSA for Chardonnay abuse.
So I had to say this, but I don't know if you know, Cheryl, did you know that that's really Bill Nye and he had a sex change? If I were Bill, if you're listening, I'd get my money back. Just saying. I don't know. But anyway, but no, I've never seen Jennifer Welch and Bill Nye in the same room. That's a fact. I have never seen them. So anyway.
Very curious.
So, Chris, what do you want to cover next? Because we've beat some dead horses here, so to speak, but no dead goats.
Well, speaking of goats, I guess we can go to this guy, the warmth of collectivism.
Yeah. Oh my.
Zoran.
Oh my.
Montgomery. Yes.
Yeah.
He is now the mayor of New York City, and he hit the ground running. He already rechanged the definition of anti-Semitism to make things a little easier on himself. Demoted the NYPD commissioner to have to answer to one of his cronies. She's not really the commissioner anymore. Remember the debate where he said, I'll keep Commissioner Tisch. Yeah, well, she's not. She's only the commissioner in name at this point.
Right. Yeah.
That's another one. He deleted.
And then he took a non-qualified person and put him in charge of the largest fire department in the country. And by the way, it's a medic. And I have nothing against medics. My son is a medic and fireman, but they're very different jobs. Some people are cross-qualified, but he took someone who ran essentially as a medic and put her in charge of the fire. And he did that to be disruptive. Right, Chris?
I think she watches too much of that 911 where they put a medic, some kind of liberal show where they put a medic as chief of the fire department. Yeah. This is the new fire commissioner, by the way.
Yeah. That's right. Very bright-eyed and bushy something. Just saying.
And still think she should be in the band Ween. Yes, yeah. I saw the movie.
I haven't, but I'm glad you have. So, Cheryl, what the hell's going on with? Do you believe that he's correct that the warmth of collectivism? That's a great term. What do you think?
Yeah, the warmth of collectivism. Honestly, I can't believe that an elected politician in America can get by with using that phrase. It's just right out of Marxist playbook. And,
yeah.
The New York City is on a fast track to downfall and destruction. And at this point, with Ma'am Donnie in charge, what can we do but let the city fall and serve as a shock and awe example of socialism so other cities won't elect similarly? So
there's a couple of things he's already trouncing on. I don't know what the right word is. I mean, he's violating, for example, he's now going to require everybody who wants to sell buildings go through this convoluted process of offering it up to nonprofits if they can't do it. We're talking about a transaction that should probably logically, with due diligence, take a month into a year process. Do you think that's going to stand?
No, I mean, let the court challenges flow because they're going to. He's got that tenant lady in charge now of
Sia Weaver.
Yeah,
everything's going to become collective. That's right. That's her.
Right.
That's what she, can you play this, Chris? This is great. People need to see this.
I'll be happy to. By the way, this is a woman who also said in the past that home ownership was a tool of white supremacy.
That's right.
And let me tell you,
I'm a white supremacist. That's me. Yeah.
She grew up in a posh neighborhood as well, by the way. She's a spoiled white liberal. This is the scourge upon our government. The people who are pushing guys like Mancami and Walz and people like Kamala Harris, the spoiled white rich women or spoiled white well-to-do women, Chardonnay sipping. I don't know. All right, here she is. Here's Sia Weaver.
I think the reality is that for centuries we've really treated property as an individualized good and not a collective good, and we are going to transitioning to treating it as a collective good and towards a model of shared equity will require that we think about it differently.
By the way, can you guys smell the patchouli from here?
I can smell cat urine.
Mean that families, especially white families, but some POC families who are homeowners as well, are going to have a different relationship to property than the one that we currently have.
So white people are going to have a different relationship with property. Oh, by the way, some persons of color too. So people, basically she wants to have this property seized. That's what she's telling us.
So of course. So Cheryl, how does this work?
Well, I mean, it doesn't, right? Because no matter what Mamdani and his appointees say, there is still a constitution in place, and we still do have private property protections. And you can't just strip apartment communities from landowners and take their property and have renters live there for whatever the government deems a fair rental price. It just doesn't work that way in America. And I think there's a wake-up call coming for some of these people.
Well, I don't understand how we even got here, because that right there is Marxism. That's not even socialism. That's like freaking Marxism.
It's unreal. And, to hear her voice, all I can think of is all that's lacking is her just twirling her hair. She sounded like like one of those stereotypical blonde ditzes, the way she was speaking. And this is the policies that Mamdani is bringing onto the city right now. As you say, Tony, pure Marxism.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even trying to, kind of transition from socialism to communism, full-blown Marxism. It's like, no, we're just going all the way. So, but I just don't understand how, even to this point, New York is going to put up with it. Now, let me ask you this, because my favorite governor, Kathy Hochul, sorry, I got it in my throat. Hochul is how is she going to deal with this? Because this is. They're trying to do some things that the state has to approve, and do you think Hochul's going to go along?
No, because she's more of she's leftist, but she's more pragmatic leftist, and she knows that you can't just take people's private property as a government official. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. And she did withhold her full endorsement of Mamdani.
Well, let's just step back a second. She did
there
have.
She is.
The New York taxpayers try to foot the bill for the new Buffalo Bills stadium because she's a Buffalo Bills fan. Yeah. She's making Hudson Valley and Long Island taxpayers and New Jersey taxpayers foot the bill for the MTA's corruption and mismanagement of funds over the last many years. And she has recently said that it's not necessarily a no when asked if New York taxpayers will be on the hook for Buffalo's financial woes.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of localities, a lot of states justify taking tax dollars to build these big athletic complexes because they say the money it will bring into the locals is worth the use of tax dollars. Not that I agree with that, but that doesn't necessarily show that she's on board with taking properties from landowners based on white supremacy ideas and giving them to renters to live in for free. That's a different beast.
I think they ought to give them Hoboken, New Jersey, and put everybody there, like a Escape from New York type island. What do you think, Chris? Wouldn't that be cool?
I say
flatten Hoboken and put up tents.
Yeah, Manhattan should be fine for all of that, just like the movie.
I don't know. Hoboken seems to be the place, or Bayonne. Bayonne's even better because it smells like, athlete's foot. But I digress.
Hey.
Don't write the show. I know Bayonne's not that bad. It smells more like dead fish. Just saying.
Yeah, I know a good singer who was born there.
Yeah. So Cheryl, have you been up to Bayonne and New Jersey up there anytime lately?
Just traveling through New Jersey.
Yeah, I was up. No. I was up there before Christmas in Manhattan. It was kind of cool, and we had to drive through. And then, Italian restaurants are big there, as Chris knows. Did you know that if you go to an Italian restaurant in Bayonne, if you're a lady and you ask for a table with a view, they put you in front of the men's room and leave the door open? Did you know that?
No. Good morning. I appreciate that.
All I'm just saying is, when you sit down, make sure your back is not toward the door if you're
that's right.
over there. Right.
That's right. That's right. Tony Soprano specials. That's right. So there you go. So, all right. So, Chris, what's next? What are we talking about next? We want to continue to talk about Zoran Monkami, or is there something else you want to hit?
Oh, I want to get into that because the rise of these socialist candidates, you have on the other side of the country who's not getting the headlines that Zoran's getting because he's more handsome, I suppose, is this chick Katie Wilson, who the one who still is getting money from her parents. That one.
Who is Katie? Well, I don't know about this. Tell me about this.
She's the new mayor of Seattle. She's an extreme socialist. She makes Omar Fateh look like William F. Buckley.
So I know about her a little bit, and
tell us. Yeah,
she's in full support of all that Zoran Mamdani is doing in New York. But like you said, Chris, she's not getting as wide a play. I think because, of course, New York City is one of the most important cities in the world, and that sort of steals her thunder. But she's the identical of Zoran, but for the West Coast.
Well, she's not exactly the let's just say primed and cleaned up socialist that the left wants to push forth out there. The left likes the handsome guys like Barack Obama. Look, they think he's handsome. I'm not saying I think
isn't that Kamala Harris's husband? It looks like him.
It does.
It does.
Looks like Tim Walz's daughter.
Kind of a combination of both, I guess.
Yeah, I would say. But this is her, and what's happening is she's actually in many ways just as extreme and sometimes more extreme than your run of the mill socialist. I'll have to get a list of some of her policies, but she is she made the headlines for winning this election kind of out of nowhere.
Well, I see. Portland, is it Portland or Seattle? She's Portland, right? She's mayor,
right.
So Portland
was Seattle. Seattle.
Oh, Seattle.
Katie Wilson.
So, okay. Well, I know Portland's kind of wacky too. I love, Portland used to be a cool place. By the way, have you ever watched that series? I'll get back to Seattle in a minute, but Cheryl, did you ever watch the series Portlandia regarding Portland?
No, I never have.
You ought to watch it. So, so it makes fun of liberals. And what's funny about it is it's a Lorne Michaels production, the same people who did Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And it stars, oh my goodness, I'll think of their name in a second. But two of the best actors ever for this role. Anyway, it makes fun. And so it took liberals 8 seasons before they figured out they were being made fun of in this series. And they got to cancel. It's like, hey, they're making fun of us. So you ought to see it. It's a Portlandia. I highly recommend. Anyway, back to Seattle, which is very similar, but not the same. So tell us about Seattle, Chris.
Well, here's another one. We only have a few minutes left, obviously, but basically,
I got to be on Todd Stearns in about 5 minutes. But keep going.
Okay, so here we go. We'll slam this up in a minute. We'll do more on Cheryl's podcast. Seattle leaders. Basically, Wilson administration has stopped persecuting or prosecuting drug users now at this point. Basically, they're going to, just like California, in parts of California, just like a lot of parts in other blue cities. They're just trying their best to make it more crime-ridden and downtrodden than ever. Not sure what the end game is here.
Chaos. End of Western civilization. Feudal mercantilism. That's what they want. Basically, city-states that respond to the global elites. That's it. That's what they want. So, anyway, I better wrap it. We got to wrap it up because I got to be on with Todd Stearns in 5 minutes. So, Cheryl, thank you for being on today. It was wonderful I hope you'll come back.
Yeah.
So you'll put up with our sense of humor and needling things. Not drug dealers. That's right. We won't needle them, right, Chris?
No, we won't needle them. We have our own needles.
We have our own needles. So, it's too bad, Chris. I'm thinking about like Reese's Cup moments, putting peanut butter and chocolate together. Don't you think it would have been great to have Dr. Kevorkian as mayor of Seattle? Man, oh man, he would have been a target-rich environment for him. Man, oh man,
that would have been
right?
fun. I would have liked that. That would have been kind of neat. Hey, he's from the area, or he was in the area, wasn't he? There we go.
I think so. Well, that could be a great Saturday night skit. Kevorkian meets Seattle. So, yeah, a crossover event, as they say. So.
Well, he might get taxed a little too heavily at this point.
That's right. So, anyway, so Cheryl, I'll be on with you Friday. Chris, thank you for running everything as you do. He makes things simple in a good way, not the Tim Walz way, right?
I'm just a knucklehead.
Well, happy New Year to you both.
Thank you.
And by the way, none of us here are ballerinas like Tim. We no ballerinas amongst us, right? None of us ballet.
Twinkle toes. No.
That's right. So,
no.
So, well, we'll be light on our feet until next time we see you, right, Chris?
I think so. I think we'll be pretty late. We're late types. No, I'm kidding. We're not.
That's right.
I don't know.
So anyway,
late.
Anyway, we got an event coming up with Sal Mercogliano Friday. We're not doing it Friday. We're taping it Friday, so it'll be a good event. It'll be a deep dive into some areas that Sal is an expert. We're gonna have Pete O'Brien along, maybe Blaine. Blaine's going through some challenges. I think his dogs tried to carry him off somewhere, but I don't think, I think he fought him. And then, I'll be on with Cheryl Friday, right? What time is the show on Friday? 3:00 with you or noon? What time is it?
Well, we're actually still working on
9
this.
o'clock.
Yeah, we're working on this. Okay.
I'll be on. No, I've got to actually have to go to Greensboro later today because I have to be in training. County Commissioner Finishing School. They basically make you airdrop into a compound and low crawl across the valley, and you have to go and find the Tim Walz scarecrow and carry it out by your teeth. So it's a tough training course, but worthwhile.
Good luck with that.
All right, see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.